All right, welcome back, free radicals. My name is Dave. Thanks for being here on the Radical Independent. Antony Blinken, he is just a piece of work. The more I listen to this guy talk, the more I think we are in a lot of trouble. Blinken says the Nord Stream sabotage is a tremendous opportunity. Secretary of State said it's an opportunity to remove Europe's dependency on Russian energy. Again, never let a good crisis go to waste. This goes back to Rahm Emanuel. For those of you who are thinking this is a global effort to destroy the West using all of these different situations, whether it's a hurricane that hits the state of Florida, and I will talk about that a little bit at the end of this video on what is happening, which is earth-shattering information about why the power isn't coming on faster in places like Cape Coral and North Fort Myers. If you're here in the state of Florida, as I am, you're watching just a bureaucratic nightmare. But in any event, if we focus in on the State Department, we realize that they probably sabotaged this pipeline. And I'm sure others have already come out and said it's probably the United States. Joe Biden, I don't know how long ago, you can find his little speech where he basically said that Nord Stream wasn't going to exist. Of course, his press secretary calls it Nordstrom's or something like that. I think she did that at one press event because she's just so amazing. She just, you got rid of Jen Psaki and you thought it couldn't get worse, and it did. Blinken says it's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove the dependence on Russian energy and thus to take away from Vladimir Putin the weaponization of energy as a means of advancing his imperial designs. Wow. So just the whole sort of, project what we're doing onto Vladimir Putin. Putin, I think, was going to sell a cheaper, like his price was going to go down if Germany decided that they wanted to purchase energy from Russia, but now they can't. So somebody here in this country at the State Department, the Pentagon, this whole thing was orchestrated, and now it's an opportunity. Again, don't let a good crisis go to waste. This foreign policy is so reckless. You've got Elon Musk out there trying to broker a peace treaty, and Ukraine giving Elon the middle finger, basically saying, shut up, no, we don't want peace. The referendum obviously passed, and the Donbass region wants to be a part of the Russian Federation, the motherland, and they're mostly ethnic Russians. So why is that so weird to people that they would want to be part of Russia? And Russia will, I believe, defend eastern Ukraine. They're not faring all that well in certain places, as far as this war effort goes, because the West is just dumping money into this. They're dumping weapons into this. And it's another endless war. It's an undeclared endless war that by proxy, and some would say not really by proxy, just the United States is involved in a war with Russia. And again, people are talking about nuclear annihilation. I think Tucker Carlson was talking about this with Glenn Greenwald. And this isn't a joke, people. This is some crazy stuff that we have gotten to, right? And this kind of rhetoric from the Secretary of State, where, again, this is just another opportunity for Europe, who has no alternative. I mean, this is the quiet part out loud, right? Europe does not have another means to generate energy. You can say solar and wind all you want, and in the winter, maybe you get a little bit more wind, right? But you get a lot less solar. And something like what, 10% of all their power is generated through, sustainable stuff or whatever you want to call it. Folks, it's not ready for prime time. And those of you on the hard left who want to go here and you don't want to drive cars anymore, and you think that, all of this was the reason for Hurricane Ian, that we're driving cars and it's causing the planet to warm up. And thus, the only way to save the planet is to just end first world behavior, right? We can't have that anymore. I'm sorry. I mean, we should have first world solutions to these problems rather than go back to the Stone Age to try to deal with it. What are they doing in Germany? They're going to burn wood this winter, right? They're cutting everything down that they can, and people are stacking wood and buying wood pellet stoves and just traditional wood stoves. So yeah, we're sending people back at least 100 years, maybe more, so they can heat their homes this winter and not, die from frostbite or whatever. This is really bad news, very bad news. And it shows what the West is willing to do to isolate Russia and to destroy the global economy. It's absolutely just mind-blowing. Now, I wanted to touch on what's going on in Florida. Now, if you're in the city of Cape Coral in the state of Florida, if you are in Sanibel, Pine Island, obviously those places were hit so hard, they've been isolated. There is no way to get on and off the islands, and obviously the power grid has been destroyed. But there is something called the Lee County Electric Cooperative, LCEC. Just for full disclosure, that's who I pay my bill to. I am in the more eastern part of Lee County. We were hit hard, but not as hard as the folks in the western part of the county. LCEC buys all of their power from FPL, Florida Power and Light. And by the way, FPL is doing a bang-up job getting people back online. The problem is, especially in the city of Cape Coral, people have LCEC. Well, thanks to a website called the Conservative Treehouse, I learned that LCEC has a financial incentive to not turn the power on until October 8th or October 9th. They had originally put a date out of October 23rd. That's when they would have the power back on. And people in Cape Coral are saying that they don't see any power trucks at all. DeSantis, I think, is aware of this, gave a speech yesterday. He's going to bring in people from like Duke Energy and some other co-ops in the state of Florida that are willing to go down there and do the work. Now, LCEC apparently has a deficit, much like they have in Europe. And, they bought power from FPL. They passed some of the increase in costs onto their consumers, but due to poor management or due to the fact that they believed that they could just run a deficit for some time and not recoup those costs, they again have decided the only way they can balance their books is to have everybody's power off. So they're not providing power, right, to all of these customers. And so as long as those customers continue to pay their electric bills, that will all balance out. It's just crazy. So they're literally using the hurricane to balance their books and to create, just this company or whatever this is, where they are creating, a level amount of money coming in so they can continue to operate. I don't understand the electrical co-op. I'm not sure how this even exists based on what I know. Everything is a monopoly, but you can't have, power lines going all over the place from different companies. This infrastructure, by the way, is probably mostly FPL infrastructure. So they maintain it. And these guys essentially are, I don't know, taking and billing customers, and then they're basically a go-between monopoly. I don't even understand it. The more I look at it, the more I don't understand it. But they've mismanaged their company. And so what's happened is they have this deficit. And if they keep the power off for another week, they won't have the deficit anymore. That's what this is about. And DeSantis kind of called it out yesterday, but a more aggressive approach, I think, is needed for the folks in Cape Coral and in other places like North Fort Myers and Sanibel, which I guess they're going to start to send power crews over in Apache helicopters, right? It's good news. I mean, there are people in Sanibel that just don't want to leave. I don't know what they're doing for food and water. Maybe, again, they're bringing food and water by ferry over there. But this is a crazy situation, and I wanted to touch on this so people knew what was going on. It's intentional, much like, blowing up the gas pipeline. It's intentional, and it's the most egregious version of putting profits over people that I've ever seen, and it needs to be rectified, and people need to call out this so-called electric cooperative for their mismanagement and for really what I consider to be the most evil of things when people are suffering, that they're going to keep the power off on purpose. Just mind-blowing. So that's my little video rant here. Keep watching the channel, keep subscribing. I know some of the content might not be exactly what you want to watch. If you're looking for those big interviews, I'm going to continue to try to get those. In the meantime, I wanted to put some content out. I was offline for 3 or 4 days because of the storm, but again, thanks to everybody who wished me well and was checking up. We're doing great compared to a lot of people in this county, but wow, government gone crazy, because that's what this is. It's just another form of government, electrical co-ops that are essentially just there to rake in the money and do absolutely no work on the infrastructure. And people are hurt, people are suffering. So keep those people in your prayers. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you soon.